YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for BoonBoomger episode 11, I believe it is. The big Go-onger crossover episode that sees the return of Sosuke from Engine Sentai Go-onger. And if you guys follow my stuff regularly, you know that I've been sick of crossover returns, anniversary content for like a decade now, I swear. So I'll be honest, I wasn't that excited for this. I do like Go-onger fine, you know, and there was little bits of nostalgia in seeing this again. It was the second Sentai I watched live, so I got a little bit of nostalgia seeing it. Interestingly, I thought about a lot of comparisons between these two series because I thought back to when I first started Go-onger, and it's much more of a silly series. It was the first truly more silly toku series that I'd experienced, and I definitely wasn't as harsh on it because I hadn't been worn down by the fandom and the tokuisms that I don't like. But also, I have to say, at least remembering it this way, I feel like Go-onger is sort of similar to BoonBoomger in the sense that it's lighter and silly, but it's not outright stupid, if that makes any sense. Like, it's not making a parody of itself. I feel like you can get invested in the characters and take the moment seriously. Different style than BoonBoomger, but I think there's an interesting comparison there. Whereas I thought BoonBoomger might be outright stupid, it wound up not being, so I think that was kind of interesting to think about. But in general, like I said, I kind of wouldn't have this happen. If they want to do like a stupid like vehicle crossover, just do it in a separate movie. I'm also not of the camp that like just because they have matching themes doesn't mean they have to cross over. Like I've seen so many people being like, BoonBoomger has to have a drive crossover. I'm like, no it doesn't. It feels like just very childish thinking. I guess it's a children's show, but it's coming from the adult fandom. Anyway, point is, if they wanted to do a vehicle crossover, I would rather just have it be in its own movie. If anything, actually, I would rather them just do a Go-onger Returns movie, which it seems like there's a chance they could do that. You know, they've been doing a lot of Returns movies lately, so I would rather see these characters return in a proper Returns movie like Alba Ranger's getting, like Deca Ranger's gotten 14 times, just because I prefer that. I prefer to catch up with the characters, see how they've matured. I don't care about these guys standing next to each other with the explosions. And this episode wasn't terrible or anything. It was honestly harmless. I'm just saying in general, I would rather not have it. To be fair, Kyoryuger's King-oger one was, strike that, reverse it, was well done. I still would maybe not have done it overall, but I think they handled that very well. This obviously wasn't of the same scale. It was just meant to be more of a fun little cameo. It wasn't intended to integrate into the mythology, but anyway, as for the episode, what I did like was, it was nice seeing Speedor again, you know, Speedor and Sosuke, who, I don't remember, I should have looked up a picture before this, but did he always have that Super Saiyan God hair? Like, what was up with that? But it was nice seeing them again. It was pleasant, you know, there wasn't anything over the top about it. There was some nice little interactions. I wish we could have gotten more interactions. I felt like there was bare minimum interactions, because as I've gotten older, that's what I like to see, is the characters play off of each other. Again, I could care less about them fighting or standing next to each other. I can picture that in my head all day if I want to, and it's not really exciting. So I would have loved to see more interactions. Like they brought comparisons up between him and Boom Black, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously him and Taya interacted a little bit. I thought the bit where he kept calling him Boom Boom Red was pretty funny. So yeah, there was some nice little interactions seeing him there. Also, just kind of catching up with them a little bit, like when we saw all the vehicles return at the end, or at least the core three, they talk about a wedding they're going to, and it kind of made me want to catch up with those characters. So again, I'd much rather have a Returns movie. It was also cool, you know, on a superficial level, to see the suit all shiny, you know, kind of reminded me of seeing the Hurricaneger suits in Clean HD. It kind of gives you a new appreciation for the suit. You know, if you're into the more superficial aspects, there's some fun fights. You know, the BoonBoomger fights in general have been pretty fun and well choreographed. You know, there's just some good action there. You know, there's some posing, all that type of stuff you're gonna get out of there. You do have the new kind of general villain who's been sticking around, coming up with a new monster of the week. And I'll be honest, again, I think I preferred Mad Rex. This guy isn't full like Weisel eccentric, but he's kind of more on that wavelength, and I kind of preferred the more badass Mad Rex. In fact, I wish they could just both stick around. You know, even though I haven't minded the villains, I hate how often in recent years the villains like don't have a base. Like I appreciated series like Zenkaiger or even Dawn Brothers. King-oger, I guess, sort of, but you know what I mean, where they have that base. It's not like I'm a traditionalist, like they have to have a base, but I like when it feels like the villains have a presence, like there's this looming threat, where I guess it sort of makes sense for this, but just in general, it also feels makes the villains feel very small when they're just constantly aimlessly wandering around like homeless people, and there's only like 2 or 3 of them. So I'd kind of like to get back to at least them feeling like they had more of a presence. It kind of makes sense in this series, but this episode in particular made me think about that. But I'm not the biggest fan of this villain guy. When we get to the mecha battle, we did actually see an appearance from Engine. It's full CG because I presume they don't have a nice version of the suit anymore, which is totally fine. I'm glad they did it, because they easily could have had Sosuke either cheering from the side being like, Mach speed or whatever, maximum effort. Or they could have just had a little bit of Speedor action, which we did get. We got to see him racing in the little Rainbow Road dimension, which was honestly fun. But it was nice, though, because even though we had to do it for CG, I'm like, if you're here, you might as well do that and have the two mecha team up. So I like that they did that. And, you know, the CG's overall not bad. And it's been nice, we've been more practical with the BoonBoomger suits. But when we got some CG, like with King Oger and Don Brothers, it's honestly not too terrible. I thought Zenkaiger's was honestly the worst of it. But like I said, if you're here, you might as well do that. So I'm glad they did that for that reason. But yeah, overall, guys, I enjoyed this episode fine. Like, it was harmless. It didn't ruin the show or the trajectory or anything. That's one thing I don't like about when we get a returning character or cameo in a main series, is when it kind of interrupts things. Like, I hated when Gaim and Go Busters had to interrupt the plots for Toku Has-Beens, because I was enjoying the series and it came at kind of a crappy time in the plot, but thankfully BoonBoomger is pretty bare bones on the plot at the moment, so it didn't get in the way of anything. It mostly felt natural, I guess, although I couldn't help but wonder, like, do kids even know what Go-onger is? I was thinking about this because I'm like, they probably know a lot of the older writers because they return every other day. But Sentai, I guess you have like the Sentai changes and stuff, but you don't get as many returns and those type of things for Sentai. So I'm like, are there any kids that even know this? Because this is pretty old. This is what, 2008? So I don't know. But yeah, it was overall fine. I guess there's supposed to be another Tokuger one. I think that was rumored, but I would just rather these be their own special if they have to do a stupid all the same theme crossover, or I would rather it be just a Returns movie. But what did you guys think of the episode? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.